Hi there, thank you so much for joining me. I just wanted to recap the Shred 10. I wonder how you're doing on your 10-day journey of replacing bad habits with healthy ones. I hope you're experiencing some wonderful results. Again, if you feel like you made some progress but need some one-on-one coaching or some accountability or just a cheerleader, please sign up for that on my website. I would love to get with you on a more personal basis. If you are experiencing great results and really sticking to the plan on your own, I'm super excited for you. So if you haven't included the one thing I would recommend, if you are sticking to the plan but not seeing as many results as you would like yet, I would encourage you to try adding the Juice Plus products. And again, it's not mandatory. I would never put that on anyone, but it does flood your body with over 30 fruits and vegetables every day. And if you add the shakes, it's over 21 more plants, including sprouts and whole grains. So would really encourage you to add that if you're not seeing as many results as you would like. So just wanted to recap on that and encourage you on your journey. So I want to move right along here. I want to talk today about not only Dr. Sears's traffic light eating, but I also want to talk about how to get the kids and the family involved, because I knew that when I started revamping my diet, at first I was doing it alone, but I thought, if I'm doing this for myself, why am I not getting my kids on board? Because I felt like as a mom, the more knowledge I had, the more responsibility I had to bring my family on board and get my kids eating healthy as well. So I know as parents, we want our kids to be healthy. I know it's really hard this day and age, and there's companies that unfortunately are more concerned about making money than getting healthy products out there. So that's why we really need to be knowledgeable about what's in our food. Unfortunately, there's a lot of genetically modified foods out there, and I don't know about you, but I knew for a while that GMO foods were unhealthy, but I didn't really understand why. So I would tell my kids, well, we're not going to buy that. It has GMOs in it, or, we want to get non-GMO. And they would say, why? And I'm like, I don't know, they're bad for us. But so I dug a little deeper and found that genetically modified foods have been engineered with one or more of two traits: pesticide production and herbicide resistance. And what that means is that pesticide production means the pesticide is actually built into the food. So it's literally in every cell of the plant so that it can't be washed off. And no one truly knows the long-term effect of eating these. So that's really scary. Herbicide resistant means, as far as that goes, Roundup is the most popular herbicide in the world and is now being sprayed directly onto our crops for consumption. The herbicide kills the weeds, but not the genetically engineered crops that are being created to resist it. So we are now eating weed killer on a daily basis. So today, this chemical is being sprayed on 89% of U.S. corn and 94% of soybeans, as well as other crops, obviously. In 2015, the World Health Organization classified glyphosate, which is the primary active ingredient in Roundup, to be a probable human carcinogen. Organic foods, thankfully, are by definition non-GMO and thus free of Roundup. This is why choosing organic is so important. It's more important than ever. The major crops that are genetically modified are corn, soy, sugar beets, canola, alfalfa, and cottonseed oil. Keep in mind that corn and soy are used in all sorts of forms like high fructose corn syrup, maltodextrin, textured vegetable protein, and as well as additives such as natural flavorings and I can't say the word, vegetable protein. So you really need to read your ingredient labels very carefully. Another way to get organic is growing your own food in your gardens. I'm gonna talk about the tower garden in just a little bit. If you can't afford organic, a quick Google search for the Dirty Dozen list will tell you what fruits and vegetables have the highest pesticide contamination. And you can also Google which ones have the lowest pesticide contamination. So the safest way to go is just buy organic or grow your own produce. If you are not a gardening person, the tower garden is really the way to go. And like I said, I'm going to talk about that in a little while. So back to where we started, which was getting your kids to eat healthy. I just want to highlight a few tips. So the most important is to be their example. So if you're not doing it, it's really going to be hard to get them to do it. So my kids are the first to call me out if I'm eating my favorite Rice Krispie treat from Starbucks more than once a week. When we have a hard and fast rule that we get one treat a week, and you might have read about that in my book. And the same goes for my husband and I. If we're not eating our veggies, why should they? So it's really important to be the example. So if my kids have a one treat a week rule, then why shouldn't I have a one treat a week rule? Have fruits and veggies ready available. I found that if I don't cut it up, they won't eat it. I'll be honest, I hate cutting up produce. But if I don't, it'll just sit there. No one else in my family will cut up the fruits and vegetables. And if they're not cut up and prepared for them, they just won't eat it. So I need to wash it, cut it up, and put it on the table so they see it and they will eat it. Number 3, don't bring unhealthy foods into the house. When my husband brings chips and frozen pizzas into the house, guess what my kids are going to eat? If we don't have garbage in the house, then they don't have any other option than to eat the healthy food that we have. So it's really important for my husband and I to be on the same page, which I'll be honest, we're not always. We go through spurts of being on the same page, and then my husband reverts back to eating some junk food, and we got to get back on the same page. So it's a work in progress. Number 4, find what your kids like. It takes time to find what healthy foods your kids and your families are going to enjoy. It really can be a trial and error process. When we first went gluten-free, and I was baking all kinds of gluten-free breads and stuff, it took a while to really figure out which things my kids liked and which things they didn't like. And I had to kind of fine-tune it. And so what I'm trying to say is give yourself time and grace. It's not all going to happen in one day. Cook and eat dinner together. The more you try new foods together, the more enjoyable it's going to be. And talk honestly about food. Tell your kids why you aren't eating the sugary things anymore. If they know the why behind it, it's going to be easier to avoid the junk. Tell them that sugar hurts their immune system. Tell them sugar causes inflammation in their little bodies and how you want them to be strong and healthy. Tell them the dangers of the nitrites and the nitrates in the processed meats, and why you're getting different healthier meats. Tell them why you want to protect their bodies from gluten, and that gluten hurts their digestive system, and just explain to them and include them in the process. Also, including, it's so important to get vegetables in their diet. I've talked a lot about, in my book, antioxidants and how we just get them in plants. And I know that it was a work in progress to get my kids to acquire the taste for more vegetables. But again, as a mom or as a parent, I think with knowledge comes responsibility. And the more I learned about plants and what they did in the body and how they, they're nutrient dense, they protect our bodies from free radicals, they cleanse our bodies and detoxify it, I felt like I needed to get more plants, not only in my body, but in my kids' body. So my kids, there were some vegetables that they loved, but it was really hard to get in as many as I wanted to. So I have a few tips for getting more vegetables in your family's diet, because again, we want to get everyone on board. So make it fun. Believe it or not, this can work, especially for kids. Cutting veggies and fruits into fun shapes can engage kids and let them just get excited about trying new foods or eating ones that weren't appealing before. It takes a little more time and effort, but it's worth it. And you can do a quick Google search to find tons of great ideas to make different fun faces and lots of different fun shapes, rainbows, and all kinds of caterpillars and all kinds of great things. Variety is hugely important. So I don't know about you, but I can get caught in a steaming rut where all I do is steam vegetables, and also in what I feel like is an easy rut where I'm just making the same things that I'm familiar with, like broccoli and carrots and green beans and things that I know that my kids will eat. And I start not trying different things. So if this happens to you, try mixing it up by roasting, whipping up a stir fry, experimenting with different herbs and spices. Mix it in. Pureeing vegetables allows you to add them into sauces and broths without the kids noticing. So you do have to do this with vegetables that do not have a potent flavor. This also works with dicing it up into doctoring up your like spaghetti sauce. Like I know a mom of one of my friends would dice up little carrots and other little vegetables into her spaghetti sauce, and it was so good. Swap. Try vegetables for a main meal. Swap them out for pasta and spaghetti. And pour the sauce right over top. Make quinoa and veggie stir fry instead of meat for the main meal. Make a vegetable stew. Grow them. Kids love to eat what they grow. If you hate gardening, again, my favorite is the tower garden. I'm going to talk about that again in a minute. Dehydrate them. My little one loves to dehydrate her banana slices. You can also make veggie chips, sprinkle some salt and garlic, and you've got some healthy munchies. It just makes it different. Wraps, try wrapping up some steamed veggies in a lettuce leaf or gluten-free tortilla. Add some salsa instead of dressing. Dip it. Kids love to dip. Try some different flavors of hummus until you find one your family loves, and have the kids help make the guacamole. Another favorite one of mine is taking the kids to the store and having them pick out something that they've never tried from the produce section. And that was really fun. We used to do that quite frequently. And if they pick it out and they get excited about it and they want to try it, that was really fun for them. So when you choose what you eat, you're feeding your microbiome, and you're turning on or off your good DNA and turning on or off your bad DNA. So that's why it's so important to get these good, healthy plants into our diet. So it's not just, oh, vegetables are good for you. It's vegetables are so good for you that they're turning on or off your good or bad DNA. So that's why it's so important to replace junk food with not only plants, but healthy fats like avocado, nuts, and coconut. You're going to feel more satisfied, and you won't have those mood crashes, and your body's really going to thank you. So I just want to point out some facts for you. The unfortunate reality is that 95% of the food that most Americans eat is processed, and processed food is where all the trans fat lies and the genetically engineered ingredients and pesticides. So if you want to protect your health, particularly your heart, brain, and gut, you need to avoid as many processed foods as possible and start cooking at home using fresh whole food ingredients. So we want to make sure we're avoiding processed foods, especially sugar, processed fructose, and refined grains. We want to eat a healthful diet of foods, ideally organic, and replacing the unhealthy carbs with large amount of vegetables, high quality protein, as much healthy fats as possible, and healthy fats like avocados, raw nuts, coconut oil, organic nuts, organic egg yolks, and grass-fed meats. Okay, so I promised that we would talk about, I promised we would talk about the tower garden. I also want to get to traffic light eating. So this is the tower garden. This is for people who are not gardeners but want to grow their food at home. So I love the tower garden. We've had ours for, oh gosh, I don't even know how many years now. But you can grow any kind of fruit or vegetable on here that's not a root vegetable. And that's because you see the tower part, the roots go into the tower part, and the water goes up from the basin, up through the tower, and waters the roots. So we've grown lettuce, tomatoes, sugar snap peas, cucumbers, green beans, squash, tomatoes, watermelon, strawberries. I mean, we've grown almost anything. And the reason I love it is because I don't like to garden. I don't like dirt. I don't like being outside in the heat. I don't want any maintenance. And all I have to do with the tower garden is go outside and pick the food. So it waters itself on a timer. There's no dirt. There's no weeding. There's nothing like that. It just grows beautifully. And it grows organic produce. So there are organic minerals that you put in the basin, so that's where it gets its minerals. There's been numerous studies that it yields just the same amount of antioxidants, but it yields even more produce than those plants grown in the ground. So this has been enough to feed our family of 6. And you can buy a package family. I think they sell it either as one single tower garden or a package of 3 for really large families, or those that just want even more produce. So it's a great solution for those who want to grow their own food but don't want the, either don't have a yard, you might live in an apartment, or don't have the space for gardening, or just are not gardeners. They also sell the grow lights now so that you can grow it indoors all year round. So that's the tower garden. All right, traffic light eating. Dr. Sears is an advocate for a simple way of eating called traffic light eating. So it's just what it is, just what it says. Green foods are go foods, yellow foods are slow down foods, and red foods are stop and think foods. So green light foods help you grow and go. They give you nutrients and energy. They're grown and not manufactured. They're low in calories, high in nutrients, colorful, and usually can be eaten raw. So green light foods are all your fruits and all your vegetables. Yellow light foods have more calories than green light foods and can be eaten every day, but in moderation. So they have more sugar and fat than green light foods. So some examples would be eggs, lean, red meat, chicken, pasta, rice, bread, fish, nuts and seeds, cheese, yogurt, soy, olive oil, tortillas, but make sure you choose the whole grain versions and organic when possible. Red light foods are foods that you should stop and think before consuming and consider making a better choice. So foods in this category would be cookies, ice cream, candy chips, fatty meats, white breads, pastries, soda, and other sugary drinks, hot dogs, and other processed meats, etc. So not only should you pay attention to the quality of food you're eating, but portion control is something that has gotten way out of hand. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Before we move on to portion control, I do want to just give you some tips for, I really want to encourage you to put this into practice. So you've done the 10-day shred, you've replaced some unhealthy habits with more healthy habits, and now I really want to encourage you to move into this traffic light eating where you're really focusing on the quality of foods that you're eating. And I think this traffic light eating is a really simple way to do that. So I would encourage you as a family to take some of the grocery store ads and cut out a whole bunch of different pictures of different foods. Take a construction paper, red, yellow, and green, and have your family sit together and categorize those different foods. So you can really talk about, why are these in the green category? Why are these in the yellow? Why are these in the red? And how do we want to eat as a family? Maybe put them on the refrigerator to help keep you on track. Maybe plan to not have red foods in the house. I think that's the best way to go, because if they're not there, you're not going to eat them. Maybe implement the 1 treat a week rule like we have. That's really easy for some families and really hard for other families. But I would really encourage you to try to put this in place. Again, if you are one of those people that can really implement a plan like this on your own, I'm super excited for you. If you feel like you need more accountability or some cheering along or some more one-on-one coaching, please sign up for that on my website. Again, not only do we want to focus on the quality of food that we're eating and what we're eating, but portion control has gotten way, way, way out of hand. So I want to give you some tips for keeping those portions in a reasonable amount. So I want to encourage you to always fill your plate half with veggies and eat your vegetables first. Okay, so before you dig into your complex carbohydrate or your protein, eat your vegetables first. Put extras out of arm's reach. So if you're sitting down at the table, leave the dinner or the food, where you can get seconds, on the counter, so that you're not tempted to just, mindlessly put seconds on your plate. Divide out snacks and meals ahead of time, and when you're not hungry. So I prepare all my meals, I think I've said this before, on the weekend, usually on Sunday, and I divide them out into reasonable portions into little glass containers, so that when I'm rushed during the week trying to get to work, or I'm at work and I need breakfast and lunch, they're already divided out into reasonable portions for me, so that when I'm starving, I'm not, reaching for, I'm not reaching for something and wolfing something down and not paying attention to my portion size, if that makes sense. Never go to the grocery store hungry. Always use a list. Make the list when you're not hungry. Use smaller plates so that they look filled up. Plate sizes have gotten way out of control. Don't eat out of the box. Take a handful out and put the box back. We shouldn't be eating out of boxes anyway. We should be eating whole food. And don't eat in front of the TV. Eat together at a table. Take smaller bites and chew slowly, and consider putting your fork down in between bites and pausing and having a conversation with someone to see if you're still hungry. Avoid mindless eating. Some tips to achieve satiety, to make sure that you're not, to make sure that you're full and not so hungry. You want to make sure that you're including protein and healthy fats with your meal or snack. You want to make sure that you're including fiber, high fiber veggies. You want to eat nutrient-dense foods opposed to highly processed foods. And you want to eat slowly so that your brain has time to realize that you're full, and use mindfulness when you're eating instead of wolfing it down. So we've kind of covered those, but I hope that those tips help. Again, I really want to encourage you to put in place the traffic light eating, put in place some of the tips that we talked about to get veggies in, put in place the portion control tips. Again, keep in mind to try to steer clear of the genetically modified foods and buy organic when possible and non-GMO. If you'd like to purchase the Tower Garden, you can go to my website, arielselwyn.towergarden.com. Again, if you'd like some more one-on-one coaching, then please sign up on my website. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to moving on to some more information in the future videos. Thanks so much.